Hey, everybody, welcome back to Karandrin Role Playing. I am, of course, Cracked Palantir, also known as Kevin Manus Pennings. I will be your host and your game master tonight. I hope you've enjoyed our past episodes. This is episode 11 of Brise's Tale. I know I promised a recap of the other ones. I'm working on it. Leave me alone. I'm working on it. And Max shakes his head at me. But speaking of Max, it's Brise's character, Max. Yay!
Yes, it is me, Reese's character. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Got a hopefully exciting session planned for you today with some wandering in the wilderness, getting lost, looking for interesting sights. So stay tuned. It's going to be good fun.
Yes, it's gonna be a hoot. We hope. We know that you've been sort of stuck with a lot of social stuff and so on, and that's sort of how Rollmaster goes or Karandrin goes is sort of doing some research and making contacts and connections, and then going back out into the wild, and then having fun and getting treasure and getting beat up, and then getting back into the intrigue and stuff like that, and going. It sort of goes back and forth like that, and hopefully we do a decent balance of it. Although maybe we chose a funny time to start the stream since we were starting an experiment of letting our players sort of have rest time in a village in a city, and so maybe there's a funny time for us to start our stream at all. Um, but
Yeah, and recently we leveled up. I don't know if you want
oh,
to
that's right, gang.
go explain any of that or.
Yeah, he leveled up, which is, I mean, I'm surprised. So not that we do a lot of mechanical stuff in this game, but he made it to level 7. Gained some new skills. If you go and you look at his character sheet, which I know you can see down there at the bottom of the YouTube video, but I'll also post it in chat so you can take a look.
Well, actually, I was gonna say the character sheet link is old. That it needs to be
Oh, you've
updated.
not updated it yet.
Well, because it's a doc file, but then it's a PDF you sent me, so I
Oh,
gotta
my bad.
fix it. So you guys can't see the updated stats yet, the updated skills and new things, but trust me, they're there.
That's right. So he gained a skill in diplomacy. He gained a skill in otherworldly lore as he's learned about new and different worlds. And he didn't gain new spells. He gave it his all, but he couldn't do it. And or she, I should say, she did learn. And I should mention, so he can now speak Dwarven, and he speaks at third level, so to speak. And I should have told you, Brees, before the stream, Max, that what that means is pairs of words, basically. So you can do, help me,
Right.
things like that. So like baby talk almost, right? Like a toddler's first kind of 2-word sentences, and you can understand and speak those. And
Extra dimensional
right,
catastrophe.
exactly. Extra dimensional invasion. Oh yeah, no, those are the words I learned.
They just point that way.
That's right. Deoxyribonucleic acid is my 2-word.
Dwarves are really advanced.
Yes, it's quite impressive. So that's what your rank there means. And I've thought about just changing it to be descriptions, like I've done a lot of your skills and so on, where where that's a little more clear, so it's not so mechanical, and we could always fix that later. So he leveled up, and tell us about where you were when last we left off, because I'm tired of talking.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to start from us going to Mirgrol Keep, because I think that was about towards the beginning of last session. So yeah, so we set off from Balabri, the goblin city of Balabri, headed toward Mirgrol Keep. Lady Mirgrol is a gobliness, goblin lady who rules over the town of Balabri and some of the surrounding land, and Adabir, which is kind of my friend or contact in this operation is good friends with Mia Grawl, and so by his graces and her graces, we're able to stay at her keep while we're conducting this kind of many month long research / plan to free the demon Kralum, who is in one of the volcanoes of the mountain ranges of this region. And once we free Kralum, that will help me get the. I'm going through a lot of names here. Help
I'm
me
popping them up.
get off. Basically, render Verilag, who is the this ancient sorceress who's somehow tied to me, render her much less powerful, if not powerless, by freeing him and releasing Kralum back to his own realm. So. Yeah, and so where we are with that is we got to Mirgral Keep, and everyone's kind of settling in. I made a good first impression on the lady, I think, and learned a couple of things about the keep and the surrounding lands. And so it sounds like I am off the hook in terms of duties or responsibilities here at the keep for at least 3 days. Which means I've gone back into town to do some research about interesting locations, adventuring sites of interest in the area, with a map that was given to me by Verilag herself, who seems to be able to slip in and out of Mia Grawl Keep's defenses like butter in a frying pan.
There's significant magical defenses surrounding Lady Mia Grawl's keep, and not surprisingly, like once you consider the power of teleport and the ability to just appear, you can see it being a problem for royalty in terms of assassinations, sieges, and things like that. And so, one of the things that I thought through when I built this world and thought about Magic's role in it is that there should be anti-teleport magic, and so almost every place with any significant individual in it is going to be just layered with that kind of stuff. But Verilag is powered by a demon lord, and her abilities are enormous. And she was able to, with a little difficulty, if you may recall, Max, she was able to come in and out.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, for all we know, is she still very much? I'm still in her graces, and she still thinks me loyal. So she is helping me in the way that a kind of a master might give their dog a bone.
Right. I mean, yes. I mean, Verilag is a queen of the past, and she's used to being treated that way. And Brise has learned to treat her that way to flatter her and to keep her so that Brise remains in Verilag's good graces. But also, she's we need to keep in her good graces because the sense is that if Brise tips her hand and Verilag figures out that Brise is working against the queen, then Verilag will simply imprison her. And then that's the end of Brise's adventuring, and I don't know how I'd possibly save her. But because in this game, I simply don't let you die unless you make a stupid decision, and then you can die. It's easy to kill characters. It's harder to keep them alive, actually.
Really is.
But and you wouldn't say, Max, would you, that in playing, even though you know that I would save your character from a pointless death, it still feels like you could die every second, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes, yeah. I would like with Verilag and stuff. I'm still like always very cautious. Like I definitely feel like even if I'm very careful with what I say because anything I do will feel like she won't kill me on the spot, right? But she will start, investigating further, probing, and at that point, the scales have been tipped. It's hard to.
That genie is out of the bottle, and
so it's not like I'm always afraid of dying every second, but I'm always afraid I'm going to die a week from now based on my decisions I'm making. Like, what am I going to take with me into the dark cave? It's like, well, that could really influence what happens in the dark cave.
Right.
That
Yeah, it's a mark of a good game master who, no matter what level your characters are, they feel challenged, and so I hope I'm living up to that. But we'll see. So really, like the last play episode, episode 10, you were in an adventuring guild um, that you had joined, and what was the name of that adventuring guild? Remind us.
that was called the Eternal Lantern.
It's the only one in town. Um, and it's run by this half troll dude who's just enormous. That seems like kind of a good guy,
He's
but
almost as tall as the Shack. Let's put it that way.
he's almost as tall as the Shack.
Yeah,
He's 8'3".
exactly.
Wait,
You haven't seen Space Jam?
I feel bad.
No, that was another guy. I can't remember. But yeah, he's pretty big.
Yeah, the dude is huge. He's 8'3" and 450 pounds. I mean, he's just a tank. So he is. So he runs the place, and there's a couple of merchants who hang out at the guild, hoping to get business from the wealthy and exotic goods brought in by adventurers. And so Brise was in conversation with them and talked to them about if they could help him with the map and figure out where some of these locations might be. And what the location that Brise has settled on, because these guys really couldn't help her that much. The location that he settled on was an old battlefield, right?
Mm-hmm. There's the other place, but that's further away and would require some more careful research.
Right.
To know what I'm getting into. So
right.
I'm going to check out this battlefield first.
All right. Well, so it's around noon. We talked about doing episode stops in our notes, and I didn't make mine. So where is it's around noon right now. What are you planning on doing, buddy?
I'm planning on setting out to that gosh darn battlefield. So I've got my horse. Oh, you know what? Something we forgot to do. Could we say I bought some horse feed and that stuff?
Well, the grass seems pretty lush.
Oh, okay.
The foliage seems to be enough.
Okay.
Yeah, and until you get unless you pass the tree line on the mountains, which you certainly hope not to do. That's really tough going that you're really not equipped for anyway.
Right.
He should be fine. He should be able to graze. Oh yeah, there's the lovely art by Elliot Dunovitz. That's right.
It's inverted. I forgot.
That's right. Yeah. So I need to do that, right? Oh yeah, it works. Yeah, right there. Anyway, and oh, that's hilarious. Wait, don't hit us! Wait.
No. Right. So yeah, feeding my horse won't be a problem unless I go into some more barren lands.
Right. Oh, Obi-Wan's on the chat. Hey, Obi-Wan.
Good evening.
Hopefully I'll be seeing you soon, Obi-Wan.
Good luck. I haven't done anything yet, but yes, I will need that. So I will use cross-reference the map and try to go seek out this place.
It's further to the west and slightly to the north. Hey, if I sent, because I know I need to send you this map. It'd be cool if we could actually show it to them. And so remind me what file format I should send it to. We'll talk about that after the stream, and we'll actually put the map up, and that'd be kind of fun to do.
Just picture PNG or JPEG is perfect.
Okay, fantastic.
Throw it into the PowerPoint or just pull it up on the side.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Mount up, walk. What are we doing?
Mountain man. We're mountain man. We're mounting to go to this place. Yeah. hop on my horse. I won't have any weapons out until I get out of town. So we'll wait until then, and then I'll just pull out my spear and shield, the classic.
That's your
Combo.
jam
Yeah,
right
my
there.
jam. It's my vibe.
So you make it out of town. You manage to sort of find that main road out. It looks like the road that you came in on with Adabir and his entourage is the way westward. Um, and you know it runs a good deal of the um, length of the town east-west from your own explorations. But so, of course, you get a certain degree of farmland up on the slopes and so on. You're going further down, further across this valley that runs east-west. Um, it does turn a bit north. And so your hope is that, maybe it's in the next valley. Maybe you can get there in half a day or a little bit more.
Okay.
And why don't you roll for me? This is a little roll to see if
70.
it's marked, as a battlefield, but it's not very clearly labeled. It just says battlefield and has a mark with an
Right.
X. And the a symbol that seems to suggest a battlefield. You know that in the past 100 years or so, there have been conflicts between the desert peoples further to the west, and here. But so that's the only thing you can think of. But it seems a little too far into the. It's not. It's too far from the border to be your first guess. But it's the only thing you can think of is that there was a war before your time, almost 100 years ago. That, but maybe this is where the Pin clans. Maybe it's as far as they made it in. So, just historically, that's the only thing you can think of that might, that is close to your knowledge.
Okay.
So. Roll to navigate, sir.
55. Now, before we say that roll is final, I do have a spell here in my tome of natural law. Where is it? Tracking. It just is that a spell that I need to see, like literally for animal tracks or following a track, or is that
Yes, for following footprints, paw prints,
signs
evidence
of
of
animal presence or human presence?
evidence, right? Evidence of a person's passage through an area,
Right.
a person
Okay.
or an entity's passage through an area.
Sure.
And so it adds to all your rolls in regard to that. So that's not exactly what we have here. Although I guess it would be kind of interesting. Maybe we should broaden that spell to include.
Right. Like you're able to see, where tracks may be.
Well, no, I was thinking rather before you cast it, you choose which it does.
Oh, okay.
Help navigate the world with use of maps, or help navigate your immediate environment with the use of signs of people's passing.
Right.
Like funeral announcements. And so, but you're passing farms, ranches, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of cattle. There's a lot of sheep, goats, that sort of thing. You've got plenty of coin on yourself. You are sort of at the edge of. You can tell that farms are getting less and less frequent.
Yeah.
And you've got plenty of coin, so it might be wise just to stop and show somebody the map and see if you can find out anything.
Yeah. Good idea.
So pick a farm. It's a larger establishment with a fine home, well kept. And from your experience with goblins, what they tend to do, because these are clearly not goblin structures, these are clearly dwarven structures in your experience, which is not surprising since these are lands taken by the goblins from the dwarves. goblin homes, in fact, tend to be round, not rectangular, and they tend to have very few internal walls because the family just sort of stays together around a central fire, and they hang out, sleep, eat together, all that kind of stuff. So what they'll do is they'll take over non-goblin homes, and they'll sort of carefully knock out walls to
Very carefully.
Yes, they learned that lesson the hard way, I'm sure. But they're clever people. They're no dummies. Um, and so and you'll often see smoke coming from their windows in those cases because they're not using the chimney properly. And so they've had to rig some system by which smoke
They
is
want to
funneled
fire in
out.
like the middle of the room. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's very curious. But you've always found that with the few goblin friends you had, of course, they had to be sort of upper class for you to really know them. You've always found that kind of cozy, like it's very communal. It's it feels like you're slumming it somewhat because they're just kind of dirty and sooty in there, and they're not the cleanest people, but they're all together all the time, and they're giving each other shit, and they're busting each other's chops because that's what goblins do. They love cleverness as a mark of strength, and so there's just sort of a sense of family and camaraderie all the time. And
Sounds suffocating, but sure.
well, only for Max because Max hates his family. Oh God, I hope your folks aren't watching. Oh, Jesus, I should put up a caption that says that. Right.
Yeah, Max hates his family.
That's right.
Love you, Mom.
I'd love you. Don't listen to him. I was going to put up your thing again, but there we go because this is probably more just a generally relevant. And again, we can't stress how crazily beautiful Brise is, and so we literally have to play it with guys falling all over her and willing to do anything for her. We literally have to play it that way. But anyway, so you stop at a gate post. There's no one immediately about, but obviously there's some preparations you need to make before approaching a home on the edge of.
As putting on my spear and my shield down right by my horse.
You can hang it on your horse.
Hang it on my horse. Keep my bolas and my flail, but just have my cloak, kind of hiding them.
Okay.
So it's not, not visible.
Mm-hmm.
And
the problem is with your flail, just to warn you, is it is not silent.
Oh yeah, you will hear that.
So
I'll leave that behind too.
Okay.
Drop that off. So just my bolas and my daggers at my belt.
And you could leave your cloak open then and seem more open because
Right.
a dagger is not a big deal out here. So you walk down the thing, and as is typical, you don't want to surprise anybody, so you just shout.
Hey, why don't we just trying out some new spells here? Why don't we try? Oh, never mind. Go on. I was going to cast charm on myself. Like I'm going to be charming, and I just realized charm is charm.
You could take that potion.
Yeah, I don't want to use that now. That's
okay.
That's like surefire, right? I don't want to use that in a noble's presence or something. But I was just looking through my spells. I'm like, I need to use some more spells.
So as it's a goblin home, there's no question that it's a goblin home, smoke and everything. You're going to expect some business, right? You're going to expect them to give you a hard time, and you need to give them a hard time back. So I know you're bad at that, Max. So go ahead and start prepping.
Every goddamn goblin, like
do some verbal stretches.
You a piece of shit.
That's right. Well, make them clever. Don't make them just dumb.
Oh my gosh.
So
that's what I struggle with, not being dumb.
All the time. So you should sort of shout out, hello, and below the smoke coming out of the front window is a goblin woman sticks her head out, older. She says, "Well, you're a pretty drink of water." She speaks to you in Goblin. She's like, "What stream did you trickle down from?"
I'm coming from Ballabri. Hoping you guys know your way around these backwaters here. Looking for a certain site, certain place on a map. And I'll speak Goblin too.
Okay. I guess we should tell everybody that you did grow up around goblins, sort of this goblin elven hybrid town on the border. Um, it's past midday. Have you had any sup?
No, I have not. If you're willing to provide, I don't mind stopping.
She's like, well, come in. And you know she's just busting your chops. The goblins are relatively hospitable people. And so she disappears from the window. Door opens. You know, a little smoke puffs out of the top. Um, and she waves you on in. She looks you up and down as you walk in, and she's like, "You know you're going to get dirty. You've done this before, right?"
Yeah, nothing you can help about it except a good bath afterwards.
Yeah, you humans and your baths. I've got some goat on the fire. And sure enough, they've knocked out walls. You know, they've had to put in some sort of stone pillars here and there to carry the weight of the floor above. It's like I said, a larger home. Ceilings are a little low, which confirms your thought that it must be a dwarven home that they've taken over. Um, there are a couple of children playing in the corner with dolls, um, and there, you know, there's a small pot on the above the fire, and there's a spit with some meat on it that's just sort of being kept warm. It's sort of swung nearby the fire, but it's obviously rotated off to so it's just not continually cooking. She just grabs you this wooden bowl, and you know she cleans it out with the bottom of her dress, and she slides some meat off the spit, and you know she throws you a knife in there, and she points to any of the various pillows and cushions and so on piled against the wall, and you know you just sort of lay against them.
Yeah.
And despite your sort of indifference to food, this is some really good goat. It is really tender. It is really juicy. Um, and she's, you know, sitting just sort of across from you a little bit, and sort of looking you up and down, trying to figure out what to make of you.
I'll look her up and down while she's looking me up and down.
That'll show her. Well, roll for me.
57.
Clearly a mom, pretty happy, pretty well to do, sort of in the odd fashion of goblins. They have finery here and there only for display, not really for use, and not really with any sense of them needing to go together. And so, you know, you find, you know, like a gaudy multiple, you know, candelabra or something, no candles in it. It's just there because it's pretty. And of course, it in no way goes with this sort of black enameled bowl that's there up on like a windowsill, and little shelves packed behind the cushions. And they're just there, and they're covered in soot. And that's how they're going to stay, you know, until their yearly cleaning. Um, and you're sure if you dug in the cushions, you would find things that have fallen off the shelves and they've forgotten about, that are, you know, considerable value, but they fell back there because the kids were playing and they've been left back there. And but of course it's warm and cozy in the house, and it's only sort of lit by the fire really.
Hmm.
And but her dress is relatively fine. Definitely someone well to do, but of course covered in soot and food. Um, um, she says, "Where are you headed to, and what brings you this way?"
Well, I'll pull out the map and, I'd say you just don't the clothes make it obvious. I'm venturing out in the wilderness here. This is a spot that I heard about, and I just point to the spot on the map, the battlegrounds. I'm trying to get here. Looks like there was some kind of battle site there.
That's what I've heard. Sure, you get people every now and then talking about going up there, digging the ground and that sort of thing, looking for old armor and weapons, things of power, I hear.
Hmm.
But you hear just as many stories of unnaturalness up that way. Battlefields are no places for young ladies, past or present. But sure, your people use an old game trail not far from here. A few neighbors' boys have tried digging in that area. They use it. It'll take you across the mountain. Are you geared for that?
Am I? When do they say across the mountain, like up into the mountain, and
Means it's got to be. It means there's got to be a way over. Obviously, it's got to be a pass
right?
that's well used.
So a little
Um,
bit chilly, a little bit rugged.
but you just need to ask her, of course, what condition it's in.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Say that depends. What's the condition of the trail?
no snow or nothing. Well, maybe light snow, but you'll need to. You'll need just to keep your feet about you. That's your horse, right?
Indeed, Judas is his name.
How much you want for him? 12 silver. Um,
Oh man.
so um, she's like, my understanding is you take the pass for half a day. Um, there's a clearing um, that you'll see to the west as it turns north, as the trail turns north. You'll I struck my mic. Wait, I struck my mic. Is that a sign?
Boo 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 boo. I should have seen that coming.
You should have.
Heard it coming.
That's right. Feared it coming. Isn't it funny? I got my ring light on. Can you see that it's casting a superhero mark on my shirt?
Oh, that was your shirt design.
Isn't that funny? I like it though. It's kind of cool. So anyway,
You're being summoned.
it's weird that that happens. I don't remember that happening in past streams, but
Yeah, the angle must be different.
it's probably because I moved the room. But so she says, yeah, it should take you a half day, maybe a little more.
Mm-hmm.
Just make sure your horse is sure-footed. I don't know if it's raised by goblins or what, but goblin raised is best in the mountains.
Well, I got him in Brise, so I imagine he must be from around here.
I should hope so. Yeah, you finish a really good meal.
I asked her, I'm like, wow, this is really good. Kind of I've tasted goblin food a couple times, but this exceeds my expectations. What fancy magic you worked on that goat there.
She laughs and kind of does the goblin blush, which is kind of just looking away and burying her head like a little kid, which you've always thought adorable. And she's like, go on with you now.
No, reel in. I hold her at knife point. Tell me what's in this goat. I have to know.
That's what we're going to have Karandrin degenerate into, right? Is you seeking recipes from various people. That's what it's going to be.
Holding them at knife point.
That's
Bribing
right.
them into
Um, all right. So she gives you some landmarks to look for the trail. Um,
I'll also ask her about any other places on the map. Anything else around here look familiar? And other spots.
Now, that Grove of the Innocent, that's not what I think it is it?
I think it is what you think it is. That's what someone else told me. I'll tell her one of the rumored birthplaces of Lewin.
Sure, sure. Now, which way do you go on that? Do you say that she has a birthplace, or do you say, no, all the gods transcend birth?
What does Brise say? Max doesn't know. Because my belief is I'm more towards the what's it called?
Well, I
forgot what my belief is. What a great
the Nine
player I am.
Stars cult is it sort of fits in with any religion.
True.
Right? But it's particularly suggests that organized religion has suppressed the natural use of magic by anyone.
Right.
And so it's almost more of, I guess, a political cult than a religious one in some senses.
Right. So it doesn't really influence that opinion.
Right. So basically roll for me, and above a 75, then you're an outlier.
All right. 63. So
yeah. So you believe they always existed. But still,
I'm not. Oh, go ahead.
I'm just saying, but still, it would be interesting to see what someone thinks would be the birthplace of this god. And I should say, Lewin is this region's god of children, hearth, and home. And she's often represented as an elven maiden of extraordinary beauty. But as these cultures have merged, the assumption is that the gods will take the form of whatever their believers need at the moment. So goblins know that she is typically an elf, but know that she's just as much a goblin as she is an elf. That's sort of how everyone thinks of them. So for you, like in your family, if there was a a high man version of Lewin that someone had painted for you guys and you had in your home, you know that no one would take offense to that.
Right.
Yeah, it's understood that that's your personal representation of the god. That's how the god would appear to you if she were to speak to you. But if you go to a temple, you'll find that it'll be an elf. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was going to say, I just tell her basically that I believe the gods have always existed, but I mean, if someone calls it a birthplace of a god, it's got to be, there's got to be something good there, right?
It's got to be worth seeing, right?
It's got to be, yeah. It's got to be on your bucket list.
They're selling the tickets. I mean, why not?
Bucket list, is that a goblin expression? Is that?
It is. It is. The bucket list is the list of things that can be put into a bucket to hit you with. That's oh man. So I don't know. I hope Josh is on the stream right now. I don't know if he is, but I want to tell you this joke. I know it's totally off topic, but I'm going to tell you this joke that I meant to tell Josh, but he's not called me today. He's been AOL. And so I was watching this comedian last night. It's one of these British panel shows that I love, where you have comedians on there, and so they're doing this bit, which is ads you'll never see. Okay, and they're running to the mic, and each individual is given their one they thought of in this comedian runs up there and he goes, "That's right, it's the frosted flaky cereal for Tourette's users. Their grandmother's a bitch." And I love that joke. That grandmother's a bitch. So, the voice of Tony the Tiger died 5 or 10 years ago.
No.
They had to get.
So he's just mute now?
Yeah, that's it. He's no more purrs. Right. So you mentioned, so she nods her head and says, "Well, best of luck to you," and so I guess you head out.
Yeah, and I'll offer. I just forget the goddamn money system in this stupid game. I'll offer, she's got 2 kids. You know, give her 3 bronze. Offer a meal.
Oh, aren't you sweet? And she takes it.
All right.
Yeah, pretty likable woman.
I'll head out of there, get on my horse, and start seeking out that game trail.
So off you ride. You're headed west, so slightly to the north. Roll for me. Get you to the trail.
50, yeah.
Done.
So, okay, what type of, was that a perception roll? Was that a
navigation?
Okay, because I do have bonus to perception. You got to remember.
Yes, I've got that. Oh, yeah, that's something we should have done off stream because I've got it marked. You know, I transferred my marks from your old character sheet.
Yeah, same here. So
okay.
And
I was going to mention to you too. We talked about this off stream, but I just want to remind you. You know, go through and I don't know, mark like skills that you may be worried about that are really low, and start thinking about maybe investing.
Oh yeah. See, I'm of the theory that. And I don't know if this is Max or Brise or whoever's thinking of this, but like the skills that I'm already good at, I want to like master. And I don't know how Brise thinks, but
no, I mean invest in magically.
Oh, good point. Good point.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, not
just not
practice at them, but literally find items that'll level the playing field. Gotcha.
Right, just where you're like, hey, I'm not great at swimming. If I had a ring that gave me +10 to swimming, that might be nice, or boots or something like that, or, you know.
How did you know I wasn't good at swimming?
How did I know?
I'm just kidding.
Well, because I have your impression of your skills.
Really not good at swimming, and I look at swimming, it says really weak. I'm like, oh man.
Right, that's what I mean. Because that's how you're going to be. That's how you think of that skill set, you know. And so, hey,
that's a good idea. I should do that. When I get some time,
and you know. A +10 here, a +15 there, whatever. You know, you can just ask at the shops and see. So you find it, no problem. You turn. It turns to the north. I mean, it's a northern turn to get on it, and it begins winding over hill and dale and shoulders of the valley.
All right.
And working its way sort of northwesternly, and you're getting higher and higher. Roll for me.
91.
No problem. And again, one more roll.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were going to emphasize something. 13. That one's not so good.
So you come across an abandoned home. It sort of appears in the distance, straight along the trail. And you know that you must be on the wrong trail. No. Because they would have mentioned this home.
True.
And your horse is very uneasy.
Ooh. Well, why don't we quietly turn around and walk away, go back down. So did I pass any forks in the road?
Several. I mean, it's a game trail, so you know there are things that split off of it here and there. And you know, I don't refer to them, of course, because there's not, hey, Lizard in Tux, welcome back. And I don't refer to them because, you know, the assumption is you're always making the right decision. Otherwise, you would have made a different decision.
Right.
You know, that you believe you're making the best decision until evidence suggests otherwise.
Evidence hath suggested.
Yes,
so I'll turn back and, you know, let's try to go a little quietly.
Sure. So do you want to ride your horse or do you want to have? Do you want to
Well, I want
walk?
to ride because if something does come out at me, then I can gallop away. But
Sure.
I'm going to make a little more noise, but let's not like gallop or trot. So it'll be a little bit.
Right. Let me do that there. Oh, wrong one. I always click on the wrong one. There we go. I
I
have
guess like walking at a walking pace is quieter than a trot, right? Because stuff
right.
isn't dangling around. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Hey, we got to remember because this is new. For any new listener, we've got um, uh, Brise recently acquired a familiar through a magic item called the Band of Familiars, which you put around the animal.
Yeah.
So
Thought about that too. Why don't we use my
I
birdie
don't
to?
know if you want to do any scouting of the home to see what might be up there, or if you're just going to say, nope, we're just going.
Let's do some scouting. Yeah, should be fine. Just I'll walk a little ways away, and then send Lala down to peer inside of the home, kind of flitter around the windows, and check it out.
So flies, sees the home. It's now flying above the home. And from behind the home, it spots a four-legged creature about the size of a large dog. Its skin is like combed back thick spikes, about as thick as two fingers. That's what it's that's what how its skin is textured. So even its face is sort of dog-like, this sort of powerful long muzzle, sort of a bullet-shaped face, and even from the nostrils on is just combed back. These very thick spikes that are combed back. It's a dark tan color. It's a little long in the torso, um, and it is sniffing the air. The thing does look savage, and it is creeping um, through some leaves, and so it's making more noise than you expect it would on other terrain. What would you like to do?
I would like to get out of there, so we'll keep just walking away, and I'll bring my bird back to me. And
Roll for me.
15.
Okay. You roll again for me.
23.
The creature definitively has your scent. And it is moving steadily toward around the house, and then it's going to be fair. It's creeping, but it's keeping pace with you guys just by chance.
Right.
It'll be on the trail and inside of you pretty quickly. So it's sort of either gallop and go or turn and fight.
Anything else I could do?
The terrain, I will say, is blessedly level, thank Lewin.
Mm-hmm.
So I should roll, I should give you that information for your consideration. Now you could have your familiar dive at it, something like that, distract it, and then have it, and then have it come back. Now, of course, that puts it at risk, yes.
Right.
But by the same token, it's not expecting a bird to dive bomb it.
Right. I think that's a good idea. Do that, and then we'll take off at a gallop.
So you sort of
distance.
Get Luau in position, and you quietly mount your horse. Luau sort of goes behind the creature.
Yeah.
I'm not pronouncing his name right.
Laula, not Luau.
Not Luau.
Not
Laula
not a bird from Hawaii.
Laula, right? Excuse me, Laula. I should type a caption for Laula, and I should give you a description also. But so it's so like you're ready to go. Fortunately, you've got those new horseshoes, that magical horseshoe on your horse, and you've got that
Mhm.
you've got your magical saddle on your horse, and they are about to become really important. Um, so Laula dives. You gallop and summon. Roll for me.
77.
A solid roll. You, the horse is more than happy to oblige you, and off you go. You can tell that it's like it's just easier to ride a horse. You just feel the difference with these enchantments.
Yeah.
Um, and
Going the Kentucky Derby.
That's right.
Yeah. Screw drugs. I've got magical
You got
saddles and
magic, right?
horseshoes.
Off you go. It's a good long run. You can tell you're distracted, trying to focus on Laula and bringing her back.
Right. And
She
what is the range of that? I don't know how far I can get with him.
1,000 feet.
Okay. That's a decent amount, yeah.
Yeah, I had it shorter at one point, and then I was like, wait a minute, some trees are taller than this range. I can't have that. Like, if they've got a squirrel or a bird, they're going to be screwed. And so I
Right.
increased it to be like, let's make it considerable. Um, um, Laula is safe, flying frantically away.
Mm.
Um, the creature is not pursuing.
All right.
And if you want, if you want to make a note in your, we use brackets, of course, to indicate creature names that you don't actually know. If you want to make a note for your experience, dadgummit, Kevin. There you go. So, roll again to maintain your gallop.
23.
A little difficult. You're having a hard time keeping it straight. So you're getting whipped by stuff and by debris, and you're like, I got to slow down, or I'm gonna lose control, and we're gonna have a spill here.
Yeah.
Luau is now on your Luau. Laula is now on your shoulder and looking back at your command to see if you're being followed. No sign of pursuit, although clearly it pursued you early on. If the thing is hungry,
Right.
it could be tracking you for hours.
Yeah.
I was shocked to hear that bears will track hikers for miles.
Yeah, it's kind of like a game to them almost a little bit because they're really curious and pretty intelligent. So they'll I'll just keep following it.
Yeah. So like I was watching one of these survival shows. They were talking about, if you're out hiking, then you need to cross streams several times every time you come across a stream, and to really shake off any chance of a bear following you. So if you're a Ghostbuster, don't cross streams, but otherwise, please do.
There you go.
So I don't know. So what do you want to do now? You're riding at a brisk pace, being a little safer.
Right.
Laula is still watching your back. You can always send her up higher to do more reconnaissance.
Right.
Um,
Let's focus on finding the right way right now that I've put some distance between us. So finding the right path. So I guess I'll just try to, at each junction, see which one is the larger path, kind of.
Well, I mean, I don't know. That's going to be roll. We're going to have you roll and navigate and see if anything rings a bell.
Sure. 48.
So you pick the most likely one, the candidate you're happiest with. You're on it. You can tell you're well above the valley now. What kind of speed are you looking to put on?
Well, now we'll just go at a trot.
Okay.
Yeah. And after 10 minutes, I'll send Laula up again and just up in the air to see if any movement in the trees or anything on the trail
Right.
that they can see.
Up she goes. You slow a little bit so because you're concentrating on her and riding.
Right.
And she circles for a few times, and it is definitely tracking you.
Damn. All right. Well, I guess we got to deal with this thing then. Send Laula back up to. Search. So
Laula loses it intermittently just because of tree cover.
Yeah.
But you're basically just watching it's going right down the trail. It stops every now and sniffs, and then it covers ground in crazy bounds.
Oh man. So, what would be the best way to confront this guy? Probably go to like a wider, area where it kind of have some space between the tree line and.
For you, the problem is protecting the horse.
Oh, true. Because if it goes after,
So if it
I'm too
stays,
tough, I might just do.
if it stays on the trail, then you can kind of bottleneck it and put yourself between it and the horse. But you're gonna have to tie up that horse.
True.
Because if it runs, it's gonna run.
Yeah. Yeah. So might just, how far away does it look now? Does it look like it'll be here pretty soon? Got enough time to tie my horse and kind of mentally prepare?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Then I'll dismount here and find a nice thick tree and pull out some of my superior rope. Tie on Judas. Now,
if your horse runs off, are you going to blame yourself because of what you named it?
It betrays me. The horse just like takes out a knife. Or the horse, like literally it betrays me. It just like whinnies really loud and then like just finds me like, oh, gosh darn it.
This is my horse, Nudus. You notice it's not wearing any clothing.
Now, I do have a spell called Call Lightning. Can you explain how that works? Because there's no description. Is that like in front of me, or like if I just see it from like a mile away, can I just point my finger?
You can summon it to any spot you see, but the further away it is, I mean, it's just like anything else. There is no range beyond sight, right? I mean, there's no.
No, I mean that's. I just want to make sure that's what the spell is because there's no description.
So. Yeah. No, but your shot, your chance of hitting is greatly improved when it's close.
Okay.
Now you've not tried, of course, ever using Laula's sight to target. That would be really weird, and you don't know magically how that would work.
Right, and this might not be the time to risk that. The other thing I was thinking, if that starts a forest fire, I'm going to be really sad. So
that's hilarious.
Let's not use that. But okay, good to know.
It's a few minutes away now. It has made it to the junction and has turned.
Okay. I will cast. One second, I gotta grab my other spell sheet. It's
oh my lord.
1 second.
Guys, I apologize.
Here we go. Faith's Path. This is the one. I will cast Emboldened Steed right on my horse, right on Judas. So for 7th level, that'll be for 140 minutes. For 2 hours and 20 minutes, he'll be a little bit calmer, hopefully. So let me just do that right now.
Okay, you're gonna prep calm.
Emboldened Steed.
Oh, Emboldened Steed. Sorry, I was thinking.
Yeah. So I'll just do that.
Oh, that's a great idea. So roll it.
87.
Nice. Yeah, you can tell that it immediately takes effect. It's steadier, um, and then it just completely calms down and even turns toward the approaching creature. You know what I mean? Like it turns back to the
Oh
traitor.
yeah, it's kind of more focused on him. Yeah.
Uh,
Oh,
no,
so what if I know I'm not super easy around heights, but how would I feel about climbing a tree to at least get some range on it, and it might be kind of hide from it?
the problem is that it's heavily forested here, so getting up in the tree, you're at the same level as the limbs of all the other trees.
Yeah. Okay.
And right now, you've got about 90 feet of clear, straight, relatively straight
Right. If
path
he
that you can
follows the
see
path,
down.
I'll see him from far away. Okay. Then it seems like the best thing to do is to ready a wall of light spell, and when he's coming down the path, I'll just throw that right in front of him, and hopefully that'll stun him as he jumps through it.
So let's talk about your state of readiness. What's in your hands?
I'm gonna have my so I'm gonna have my spear ready, like beside me, so I can pick it up. I'm gonna have a bola ready in my hands, and my shield, target shield.
Okay. So
So I'm
roll to
planning to get.
cast. And look, what are you using? Did you use PowerPoints for your spell, or did you use the?
Oh, good point. I use PowerPoints for that one because that's just
Okay.
second level, but I'm going to use the helm for Wall of Light, which is fifth level.
All right. Just make your notes, and then
And I plan to cast Wall of Light once I kind of see it, right? So
oh yeah, yeah, I
hopefully,
understand.
although I can't remember how we discussed that before. It's not like something visible they can step around, kind of.
You can see it. Yes,
Right.
it's a golden sort of pane of light that's
Yeah.
intangible.
Right.
But the idea is that this is power of your god, basically shining down, and and um, and so when they pass through it,
Right.
it has its effect. You can add PowerPoints to it, although not using your adder, you can't. But you could if you want to make it more powerful and more likely to stun.
True. I might do that actually.
Um,
But yeah, the idea is I want to have it ready as as I see him, so I know where to kind of put it, right?
right. Although, I mean, it seems very animal-like. It seems very animal-like, and
Mhm.
so you might go ahead and cast it. He's going to be here in about a minute, and
Okay.
he's getting faster and faster.
Okay.
As the
Then
scent gets stronger.
yeah. Then I will cast it. Then just put it as kind of far down the path as. Well, actually, no. I'll just put it like 40
With,
feet from me.
yeah, presumably within bola range is where you'd want it.
Yeah, exactly. So
Um,
40 feet away, we'll say. Summon it there. I'll put in a cast it at 10th level. Put it or 5th level. Put 5 power points into it extra.
well, no, you have to do it all from your own. You can't mix it up. You understand?
Well,
Oh,
that's what I can't remember the terminology. I'm going to cast
okay.
it with my PowerPoints,
Okay.
adding
Yeah.
5 more PowerPoints,
All
whatever
right. That's
terminology
fine.
you
Right.
want to
So
use.
you burned. Yeah. You cast it at 10th level,
10 level. Okay.
and yeah, you make it a 10 PowerPoint one instead of a 5 PowerPoint, and
Yeah.
literally it makes it 10th level. It'll have a 10th level effect as opposed to a different effect. Um, and so and that's how all the spells work, with the exception of damage. Your damage spells will be they actually if you double the power points, you double the damage.
Okay.
And so all right, so roll to cast.
84. Man, some
No
good rolls
problem.
today. I really did level up, didn't I?
It does feel good, and it only cost you 9 power points to produce that
Oh,
10th level effect.
thank you.
That was a really that was really effective. So it's up. What's the duration on it? It's still at your level,
Yeah, it's
right?
at 80 minutes. So it's going to be there for a
Nice.
long time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be there for a while until you cancel it.
Yeah.
Um, so you've got a bowler ready. You've got your shield ready.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have you take your spear and stick it into the ground unless you're expecting to throw a second bola.
Yeah, actually, stick it in the ground. Yeah.
Yeah, that will save you a draw penalty from drawing it off your back.
Right.
Um,
I have my bowl of summons is the one I'm gonna
bolas, yeah. And so that one for our listeners, it will come back to him. It'll return to him.
like Aldruf.
Right. Well, unlike Mjolnir was actually the comparison I was going to
Right. There you go.
The creature is bounding towards you. It turns on the trail. It sees you. It sees that you see it. It pauses. It cocks its head. It snarls. It doesn't really seem to. I mean, it's looking right through the. Oh, funny. It's looking right through the wall of light. It doesn't seem to have any interest in it.
Right.
And boy, it charges, and you're like, that is as fast as my horse.
Ooh,
I don't know what kind of endurance it has, but that is going to be difficult to outrun. But bola is a great option, right? Because it will tangle it.
Yeah,
and tangle it shot off of it.
Down.
So, it charges. Here is where I need something I don't use a lot of.
Man, it's a shame we only have a few viewers. This is a really exciting
I know.
session. Damn.
It hits the dadgummit, I'm sorry. It hits the wall of light.
Mm-hmm.
And it was about to make a huge bound, and you're like, it was thinking it could get to me from 40 feet away.
Oh my God.
And I've actually based this creature in part on a mountain lion.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, is it like as big as my horse, or like bigger?
No, it's like a large dog.
Oh, okay. It's a big hound, yeah.
Yeah, it was it did not do well in resisting. Wow. Yeah, it really messed that up. So it begins to make its leap, and it flashes through. You see as its head is lolling from side to side as it's bounding. It really has messed up its forward momentum. It lands and kind of tumbles, and then gets to its feet, and growls at you. Your horse doesn't flinch. And in fact, it rears up like, come on.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That spell, that horse does not like this thing. I rolled like a 90 something for the effect on the horse, and it's just like, well, I have a different attitude now.
Yeah,
I have I think that creature would make a nice pair of shoes. I think is what that. And so you kind of feel like this weird, wave of pride over your horse. You're like, fuck yeah, It's about 30 feet away. It doesn't know what to do with itself. It's a little unsteady. I assume you're going to let fly.
I am. Toss this bola right at him.
Oh, yeah. Every time you say that. What's the bonus on the bola? I've got 2 written down here, a +10 and a +20.
Yeah, the actual summons is actually 3 bolas. The bola summons a +20 rune.
That is a hell of a bola.
That is. That was a gift I remember from one of the goblins for helping. I just gave her some advice about something.
Yeah.
This bola. Very generous.
All right. Roll it.
92. Wow.
Dear Lord, that is off the chart.
I'll take it.
20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 27.
So I don't know, do people know about the critical system? If I did,
well, explain it to them.
Well, I think I did get a critical. So how Rollmaster 2nd edition handles very powerful attacks, basically, are criticals when you roll high enough, which means you've done some type of immense damage or permanent harm to the creature. Or it can be just like a certain area of the body that's targeted and now like incapacitated. And so there's 5 scales, I believe, with A being the highest and then E being
No,
the lowest.
A is the lowest.
Oh, okay.
E, which is what you scored,
There we go.
is the highest.
Highest, yeah. So it's going to
Um,
do something really devastating to the creature. However, criticals can also be applied to me. So, yeah,
yeah, it is.
works both ways.
So he snaps at this thing, not knowing what it is. So he kind of bounds at it a little bit and tries to sort of catch it, and it strikes him in the head multiple times as it wraps him up. And it wraps his arm up to his face.
Oh my gosh.
And at not a good angle. Like you hear things pop.
Ooh.
He's bleeding from the mouth. You've broken teeth out. He falls on the ground. And if you summon it back to yourself, obviously he's going to become untangled.
Right. Leave it there.
And next round, we're going to start doing some initiatives. So roll, buddy.
Okay, it's a good start though. 31.
All right. He is pulling at the thing. It's all he can do. He cannot use that arm. He's limping and he's chewing at it and he's trying to break it. These are wire bolas. I mean, they're very strong. And given the quality, is it plus 20 magic? Plus 20 what? Do you remember?
Rune.
I'm sorry?
Rune.
So yeah, there's magic protecting that wire, even if he were, particularly a special creature. So he's chewing at it, and he's backing away. And of course, he may just back right back into that wall. What do you want to do?
Well, yeah, he's definitely on the on the low, but I feel like I have to finish him because he might come back after me.
Well, and yeah, I mean, and he's a danger to anyone else in the area.
Well, right. But my character is always trying to find a way. Violence is never her first option. So if it was a creature that seemed like it would retreat, then I would. But it definitely seems something kind of ferocious. So let's finish him off. I'm gonna run up there with my. Let's take out my flail since I kind of have time, and that's
okay.
Even more comfortable with that, and kind of run up and use the flail and swing at him.
Okay, so draw the flail,
and
you're going to give her like a running shot.
Yeah.
Any bonus on the flail, sir?
Oh, absolutely. +5 substance.
Good Lord, this is really bad. So he turns to snap and sort of deter you. So you charge. He kind of bounds to you to try to sort of bite at the weapon, and roll your attack, sir.
Okay, 62.
That's almost off the charts. That is not good for him. Oh, that is not good for him. All right, I want you to roll your critical. I didn't let you roll the last one. I thought it would break the pace.
89.
Oh, jeez.
Hot diggity dog.
He bites. It does kind of cause, he chomps at you, and, does cause you to, sort of check your step, but it also exposes his neck, and you just swing with these chains with, steel objects at the end of them. They slam him across the side of the face and the neck. His face swings all the way around, and touches the side of his body, and he tumbles into the woods, just a few feet, and you're ready to go again, and you give it a moment. All right, you're good. Boy, you
Okay.
boy, you kicked its ass. It was not doing well. That first shot gave it a -40
Oh
with
my
all
gosh.
actions.
Damn.
Um, and it had already been stunned. It rolled a 9 to resist the power of the wall of light. A 9
Wow.
on a scale of 1 to 100. It needed a 62. So basically, it went through there. So I got 4 rounds of stun.
Oh my gosh.
Then you threw the bola, gave it another 4 rounds of stun, and then you ran up there and swung and just shattered its spine.
What can I say? I'm a badass.
That's very true. So now you just concentrate, and the bola unwraps and flies from the bushes to you. Um, do you want to take a moment, given your interest in creatures, and examine this thing?
I do. Well, first I do want to clean all my weapons and stuff.
Yeah.
Garbage is off of them, and then I go peer over the body and get a closer look at it.
So it is. It's very powerfully built, very warm to the touch, um, and sorry, I was looking at where's this weapon. And so the spikes are sort of like soft horn. They're not. They only get really hard toward the tip. Otherwise, they're kind of movable on this thick sort of leathery hide that it has.
Yeah.
Roll for me.
82.
You think this would be you wonder the quality of the armor that this could produce.
Right.
Um,
And also, I'll chop off one of those spikes and maybe wrap it in something and keep it.
Okay.
Get some
So
money.
so you sort of dig in and just cut. Let's see if there's.
I wonder if is there any way to, because I don't want to it's like poison or it has some like bad property to it, right? I can't really.
You don't get that sense from it.
Okay.
Like there's no sense of opening in the thing. You push on it with the knife with your dagger to see if it extrudes anything before you start cutting. It really doesn't seem that way.
Okay.
The hide is really thick, and it takes you a good deal to cut it loose. It's a so you cut it free, sort of heavily anchored, and there's even for the one that you cut out, there's even some sort of connective tissue that connects it deeper down into the bone, like cartilage and things like that, connecting it. And so it's interesting. It's like even if you it's not something you want to wrestle with and try to grab,
right.
But you cut it off, and then you kind of rub it on rocks and dirt and things like that to get the blood off and get it sort of as dry as you can, and sort of squeeze out any fluids so it doesn't just get on stuff. I don't know what you exactly would put it in. It's interesting because you probably would want it in a pouch by itself. Do you have a pouch you could empty and just put that in there?
I do have just some. I don't have any pouches, but I have some empty sacks.
Yeah, I would just put it in there.
It in one of the sacks, or can I just throw it in my bag of holding? Wouldn't that be?
It'll still touch stuff.
Oh, okay, I see. So we'll wrap it in the sack then. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously you can't know what its name, but it's the creature's name is a Strethros, and
how do you spell it again?
It's on your chat. It's in the chat.
Oh, is it?
Sorry,
you did send it to me. Strethros. Okay.
Right.
I got in parentheses, so I'm not gonna.
Yeah, brackets.
Feign ignorance.
Yeah, that's right. It means that's what brackets mean in Rollmasters. You have to feign ignorance. You're right. It's exactly what it means. So there you go. You think you're on the right path. You're a little, whew, like, oh, I'm glad that's over. That's terrific.
Yeah, terrific.
Um,
Yeah, no, that's done. Actually, would this be a good time for a break, do you think?
I was going to make the same suggestion to you. Is that yeah? We just got wrapped up with a battle, and it's it's a good time to take a break. So um,
For not only Brees, but us, is what we're
that's
saying.
right. So hey, everybody, go grab yourself a drink or a bite to eat, and we're going to take a little break right now, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. Thanks for joining us, and we'll be right back. Appreciate you joining us. Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for hanging with us through the break. Brise has just defeated a large dog-like creature that
Named
covered
Verily.
in. That's right. Covered in spikes. Um, but as it seems to behave like a natural animal, there's really no point in searching for treasure. It has, no means of carrying such treasure. He did remove, or Max Brise removed one of the spikes from the creature as a point of investigation and her own curiosity about such things. You sort of calm yourself down and just take a few deep breaths and cut it off um, and sort of note its structure and so on. Very
Yeah.
powerfully built.
Yeah, I do
Uh,
have my, I almost forgot my journal. I have a little journal I'm keeping of different creatures I come across.
right.
So I will devote a page to this creature. And I literally have every page, so you can if you guys check my notes, you can see all the info. We'll just call it the spiked dog or spiked hound like creature. Encountered. Or this was in like the mountains north of the frontier, just north of the frontier.
The frontier.
But whatever this place is called, the border between Nargos and the Elven states. We're just north of that, right?
You're just north of the boundary between Avalar, which is the Dwarven nation,
Oh, I get it mixed up. Yeah, okay. Right.
and
Dwarves, elves, they're all just magic creatures, whatever.
they really are. That's all they are, and they hate your
Okay.
guts.
North of so I'll just say southern Nargos, yeah. So I encountered in the mountains. And again in brackets, whatever this thing was called. All right. Yeah, and I'll take a little bit of time to do that.
Okay, and just sort of calm yourself. Your horse course is doing great. You are worried about trying to make it to the battlefield by nightfall.
Right.
That is a problem, but you may just have to push through. You figure you'll at least be on the other side of the mountain by dark, and so that'll be the most dangerous part of the journey will be over.
Right.
And you can start hopefully working down, just working your way down the shoulders of the mountain until you get to that next valley. And clearly the battlefield would have to have been in some larger area, some sort of that's moderately flat or at least not heavily treed. If it's not flat, the combination would make such a ridiculous battle site. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, unless it was very unusual circumstances, which happens. But
Right.
so on you push.
Mm-hmm.
We're at early afternoon. Roll to navigate, buddy.
Let's go. 13. All right.
You keep going. You're clearly headed steadily towards a break in the mountains, which is a good sign. Roll again.
11. It gets better and better.
And now you are turning away from the trail. You've not deviated, but it's now turning away from the mountains, back away from that pass. But I think you're thinking that, but it's neither here nor there. It's going to swing back eventually.
Yeah, sure.
So roll for me again.
I'm confident in my trail selection. 64.
Yeah, you're now just curving back along the base of the mountains, going here and there along slopes and so on. Yeah, it's pretty evident now that the pass is pretty clearly behind you. If that indeed was it, maybe the
Right.
pass is harder to see. But that larger break between the mountains that you hoped and assumed was the pass,
Mm.
this trail does not seem to take you there. Um, what would you like to do?
Okay. How hard would it be to forge my own trail through this? Are the woods pretty thick?
There is a definite reason that idea occurs to you now. Very sparse grasses and brush.
Mm.
Um, you know, um, it's going to be a slightly slower trip than being on the trail, but it really is not too
Yeah.
bad.
Well, at the risk of getting a little more lost, I think I'll just try to cut off in the direction I know where those the pass was.
All right, roll to navigate.
95.
Make very good time. Um, I mean, the terrain and the vegetation is just playing right into your hands. I mean, it has not been thicker for the past hour than when you first started. You're making very good time. You have to wind around some shoulders and things like that, but that's the mountains for you. What do you want, right? Um, you do come across a pass, not a pass, another game trail.
Mm.
Um, Pretty clearly used by humans. There are more than one example of where someone has stuck a blade. Like
Right.
they set their hatchet in it and then worked on something and took how you do. Um,
Oh yeah, all the time.
you probably haven't been around axes too much, have you, Max? But
No, but like I know marking trails, and human
right.
the presence of humans. Yeah, you can tell.
But you take your axe or whatever, and you're like, I don't want to set it down, but I'm in the woods, so you just go into a tree, and then you do
Right.
whatever you need to do, and you put it out, and you.
Take it back out. You gotcha. Yeah.
So
You
you
know what
can
I will
tell that
do?
it's turning. It's turning. It's headed more northerly, but
Well, Laula can
your
confirm that
grassy
as well.
pass crosses it. You know
Well,
what I mean?
right. And Laula will confirm if the path is goes the right way. So just fly them up there and see if it winds towards the right direction or not.
No, very quickly turns back down the mountain.
Okay.
So the sort of grassy scrub area that you found seems to be a much more effective route, and you just go ahead and send her over that way.
Right.
So there are a couple of rough-looking characters in the woods that she spots far off the trail. Um, they're setting about gathering firewood and sort of just making camp.
Mm-hmm.
Two goblin males, but sort of light in gear but heavy in weapon. And if they're light in gear and out this far, well. Why don't you roll for me? I shouldn't draw conclusions for you.
94.
Fugitives. They're running from something and had to run quickly
Mm.
because they're not
And so
prepared
are
to be
they
out here.
on my path if I keep going through the woods, or you mean the game trail?
Uh, you would encounter them more closely off the game trail. They're very far edge of um, of Laula's range, so they're 300 yards away from you, and
Right.
you'll be going south of them, following the grassy scrub path, the
Right.
grassy scrub swath. I mean, it's
Yeah.
as wide as a football field. This area is just lovely. I mean, it's really quick going.
Yeah. Well then, yeah, I won't pay any mind. They shouldn't hear me from that distance, so I'll
No, I wouldn't think so.
keep going.
It's crazy. I mean, you were just hauling ass. Yeah, you're doing your best to keep that in sight. And of course, sometimes you just get into vegetation where you can't. But um, you come across another pass, another actual trail. It seems to be running right now toward your mark. You send up Laula again.
Mm-hmm.
There seems to be a kind of an oddball. There's a dwarven gentleman dressed in skins. Further up the trail, pretty definitely a trapper. He's got furs in a bag, and he's sitting down and taking a pipe. But this trail seems to be what you want.
Okay. Well, if the trapper doesn't seem antagonistic, I'll maybe
Well, he's
just
a dwarf, so he's going to be rude, but otherwise, no.
Yeah, no, I mean he doesn't have weapons out like the other ones,
Right.
loaded weapons. So I'll come onto the trail a distance away from him if I can, and
Yeah, you don't have a choice. The trail is here, and he's 1,000 foot along the trail.
all right, that's what I mean. Like, yeah, come out onto the
Um,
trail and inhale him, and
right. I mean, you might as well just start singing or something.
yeah,
Right.
sure.
Make yourself known.
Dwarves are the worst. I forgot.
You could try some scat.
That would freak him out. He'd be like, "What is that sound? What is this?
It's so beautiful.
It's so terrible."
Corny. Let me crank this guy out really quickly. Oh man, I thought I had this fixed where I could see everything. Well, it's the same. All right. So yeah, so you head up the trail and so on. Let's see how this guy is. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you head up his way, and you come to the spot where clearly he was. You can smell the tobacco, and he's nowhere to be found. And you hear, "What's a pretty young thing like you doing out here?" It comes from your right off the trail.
So not from where the dwarf I think would be.
No, you're standing where the dwarf should be. You and your horse.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you're like, this is where you should be.
Right. I'll not harming any dwarves. What would I say? I'm just seeking a. Well, I'll just say I seem to have gotten lost. I'm looking for a certain place around these parts. Maybe you could help me show the way if you showed yourself. Mean you no harm.
Where is Laula?
Laula is above the treetops, circling above near me.
Okay. He emerges from behind a tree. He's looking you up and down. He's like, "You're an adventurer."
That's right. Very, very perceptive of you.
What place is it that you're looking for?
I'll take out the map and I'll hand it to him. You're just down for my horse. That spot right there, that rumored battlefield, it's told one of these game trails leads to a clearing where you could see it from.
He approaches sort of cautiously. He It's like, I know that spot. That's the old battlefield, right?
So I was told.
Well, you won't be the first to be chased off from there. It was a bit of a tussle with the pin there about 80 years ago. Was a sizable scouting force. Goblins ambushed him. It's, I mean, I guess it's why you're seeking it, but it's as unquiet as you might fear. Hmm? And you take it that he means there is the unresting dead there.
Right. Okay. I heard there were some possibly powerful items there as well. Are those?
It's powerful. The pin, they're the ones who invented saving swords.
Oh, I did not know that.
Their commanders often had them. Oh, and you'll probably find a few potions. Like this guy just rattles off, and you're like,
how do you know all this?
You're like, he's got to be a former adventurer.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And you're like, he heard me coming. He was really good at getting off that trail. I'm going to tell you that, well, I don't know. How much coin is it worth for me to take you there?
To take me there, that would be what a generous offer. So for a trapper,
well,
sure.
I'll offer him.
Right. So I'll start off at would 5 gold be a good?
Sure, I can take that for the tour. And what about for telling you things I've seen there?
I'll throw in another 5 gold.
We're going to get along well, you and I. So he leads you, and you didn't make it back to the right trail. He's like, it's a good thing you found a dwarf. It's going to be dark before we get there.
Oh, that's
but
right.
I wouldn't suggest being anywhere near there at night.
Fair enough.
It's a place you can't cross safely. These are unearthers that you're dealing with here. I've seen a deer try to make it across the meadow, and 3 hands reached up and pulled it down.
Oh, man.
At night, many of them will be stirring. There's more than a few goblin lad have lost their life digging out there. They're right to be scared of it, and I warn them. If I come across them, I warn them. But they don't want to listen to me.
Yeah, they could be pretty tough to convince, imagine.
Now, your other problem is that the only way you're going to get any real treasure is either by digging or by fighting. Now, that may not interest you. You may be there just for the thrill. That's all well and good. I will tell you that I found this dagger on that battlefield, clearly made in the Pin clans. I've had it for 18 months. Not had any bad luck, so I don't think it's so bad that it's cursed. But if you wind up fighting something, if you're going to run, you have to run down the exact same path you came down. In the meantime, you guys are traveling and so on. You begin to get some light powdering of snow on the ground. You pull your cloak tighter, um, and he just keeps puffing along and walking. And he's sort of walking. You and he are walking, leading the horse. Um, he glances back at your horse, and he's. Oh, sorry. Let me finish his thought. He was saying, if you have to flee, flee back along the path you came into the meadow by. What I
Right.
mean by that is whichever way you walked into the grassland, right? You have to flee that way. If you flee a different way, you cause another unearther to come up. Now you're fighting two.
So I kind of want to interrupt him, ask about unearthers. Like you seem to know quite a bit about these creatures. What do
That's
so I
what I
assume they just
call. It's what I call them unholies that they stay in the ground until nightfall.
mm,
And so, if you disturb them during the day, they reach up from the ground and get you.
oh man, yeah.
But not all of them stir at night. I don't know how they figure it out. Maybe they take shifts. I don't know. But so let's say you've walked in a good 100 yards, right? Every now and then just keep glancing back to mark that path you actually followed in to the battlefield. If you come across something you can't handle, you've got to run back along that path you made.
Well, that's why. Because if I do recognize and be pretty confident he's an adventurer, I'll mention that I know magic. It's like, well, that's why our teleport might come in handy, right?
Sure. If you're not so panicked that you fumble.
Shut up.
I'm
sensitive about these things.
That's crazy. So this guy's knowledge of magic is what made me decide to play him this way.
Oh man. Okay.
160.
Wow.
So he's definitively a former adventurer. I can't think of any other reason.
Right.
He decided the life wasn't for him, and he tells you straight up, hey, I'm a mage from way back. I've had my share of those. And
yeah.
When you've got a sword in you, casting a spell is not the easiest thing, and you're likely to blow yourself to pieces. I damn near lost this hand in a fight from my own fumble.
Oh man.
But it's better than nothing, you're right. Potions. Potions are the way to go in a real tough jam. All you got to do is drink.
I do like drinking.
Now I don't know if it's Brise talking or if it's Max.
I like teleporting and drinking and long walks on the beach. Now I really don't know who's talking.
When we get the website up, can we do that? Can we do a dating page for Brise? I like long walks on the beach and on battlefields.
Long walks on battlefields. Get the mosquito out of the way.
You can find some decent Reynolds stuff up there. The goblins love their poisons.
Okay.
It's only been 80 years. The goblins make pretty decent stuff. I hate how well they train their horses for the mountains. It drives me mad. The only thing a dwarf can train a horse to do is fall. Oh, Obi-Wan. Thank you for the love. So you guys travel for a while. You're now coming down the shoulder of the mountain. He points to like a distant smudge of smoke. He's like, you'll find Pelka that way. Tiny place, though. You'd have to rent a room from somebody to find any decent place to sleep. They're friendly enough as far as the snaggletooths are concerned. They're fine. It's a goblin It's an insult for goblins.
Yeah, snaggle. That's what I thought.
I'd hide the spear and such, but you probably know that.
Yeah.
He just, keeps talking away. He points way off to the west. He's like, several valleys over, and it's a tough go from here, but you can reach Hanrock that way. I go there about once a year. And Hanrock is one of the major cities of the goblins.
Okay.
But it's quite a ways. So basically, you were already on the right trail, and he took you there. And you're like, well, okay, that's fine.
Thanks.
Certainty.
Thanks for the info, at least. Yeah.
And
on the way, also, I would have just shown him the map, and just, hey, any other spots on here you recognize? Besides he can tell me about the Grove of Innocence, too.
He doesn't even recognize that one. Negative 46.
Jesus.
He's like,
I can't read.
But he knew that one spot. He got an 80 on that.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
so I really like this NPC thing, because it's like, I think about those common questions asked of NPCs, like at least in terms of sort of the social side of the game.
Right.
Do you see Obi-Wan's post? It's for Brise. I want to date her.
Oh, little beating hearts. Boom, 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 boom.
But so local geography is one that I have, right? Because you ask directions all the time.
Right.
Well, that is, one does, not you, but players tend to ask directions, which I encourage them to do because that's what people do. And so he's got an 83, and of course I would give him a bonus for knowing that he's local and everything. And since I know that, I've sort of made up in my head that he's been here for a while, so I basically use that as a stat, like you would on your strength or anything else, and then I add that to all of his rolls about your questions.
Right.
And it's just very handy, and it's a very elegant system because it's the same as the rest of the game.
Right.
So I'm glad that we do that, but. He's like, unfortunately, you won't find a lot of shops and such around here. Not even those little traveling wagons that might sell some curiosities. I hear there's a place back in Ballabry, but I go there every now and then if I find a trinket that might turn a few hundred gold, but he's like, I don't mean to be forward, but I've kind of gone a bit out of my way. Do you mind if I make camp with you?
I don't know. How much do I trust this guy? We've been traveling for how long now?
Oh, we didn't do the gut roll.
Oh, true.
Roll it up.
60.
60. He's a good guy. Not untrustworthy.
Okay. Sounds like I'll camp. I'll share camp, but I'll wholly lock my stuff just out of my own kind of paranoia.
No, I understand.
Slow to trust this. Yeah.
And he's a dwarf.
Yeah, that should be okay.
He's likely to do the same thing,
Yeah.
And he's got a big pack on his shoulder too, and So one of the things I realized, I told you that when we leveled up your character, your ability to carry stuff went way up, right?
Right.
Well, it's because I didn't add this thing that I started later in the game, which is, the Rollmaster system, and which is what I use in Karandrin, they base your carrying weight, your carrying max on your body weight. But it occurred to me that for dwarves and halflings, like dwarves and halflings we know from Tolkien, they're a sturdy folk.
Right. It's kind of built into their anatomy.
Right. And so sort of this basic strength and core muscles that allow them to carry loads, no problem. And so I thought, I should probably go revisit every race and just add a bonus to that. And that's what I'd forgotten to do in your character.
Mm.
Now, fortunately, you're so strong that it barely affected you.
Right.
But it did suddenly, because your strength went up, and then I did my own system correctly, like an idiot. So suddenly you were able to carry a lot more. Um, so
Yeah, and we never gotten too close to that barrier because we're always kind of assume that I've got the stuff portioned out correctly, my bag of holding and things. So
right, the worst stuff goes in there.
right, good to know that.
So he finds a spot pretty well. It looks like he knows it. It's on a ledge that has a back part that's not too exposed, but has a forward part that you can walk out and have a nice view of the valley and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And he's clearly marked that point. It's been dark now for a bit. He's like, it's another hour or so down the trail. I found this spot to be pretty safe.
Okay.
Um, and um, and you guys sort of make camp. He brings out a little tent. Um, um, he's watching you set up your tent, and he kind of just throws you one of his handmade sort of furs.
Oh, okay.
He's like, you might need a little more at this elevation, and so he just kind of throws it at the foot of your tent. You can reach in and get it. Reach out and get it if you get cold in the night.
Yeah.
And he just goes about his business making wood gathering firewood and chopping things here and there. And when you do your bit, and, if you've got whey bread, you might offer him some whey bread. It tastes better than most things.
Yeah, sure. Why not? I'll be a good host, be a good companion.
He's like, I haven't had whey bread in 11 years.
All right. Well, it's like, I hate this stuff. That's why I haven't had it so long.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. That does wonders.
So do you want to, we're kind of close to when we normally stop, it's end of day, or do you want to push on for the stream?
Let's push on, just maybe get to the battlefield so then we can start the stream like we're there. I think
okay. Cool. No problem.
Or unless something crazy happens between now and the battlefield, we'll see. But let's go a little bit further.
So you guys get set up. And you kind of talk and intermittently study. I assume you're going to do Way of the Spirit again, which is, for our listeners, that's the magic spell book called the Tome that the characters need to read to learn a new spell list. And so between conversation and studying and so on, he says, I don't know how you like to handle your camp business. But if it's all right with you, I was going to put a few magical alarms about the place.
Yeah, I was thinking of the same thing, so go ahead.
Let's see. It's got to be, I'm just going to say it has to be one of the two. I don't know. You could have probably passed it off. We'll see. So sure enough, he pulls out a wand.
Huh.
So he is deep in spell lore. And he murmurs and casts one on one side. He murmurs and casts another one on another. And he's like, whenever I'm this close, I like to use some detection magic to see what's crawling about.
Yeah.
And so he casts basically all downhill. And it's funny, I'm actually rolling for him to fumble. It's kind of funny. Okay. Yep. There's one already up and stirring.
Oh, man.
Well, the alarms will wake us. It'll be a bell. I'd sleep with something handy, though. Let's see what he takes out. Of course, he's probably going to stick with a wand, but it's always handy to have a weapon about. Let's just find out what his go-to is. You want to roll for me while I'm looking at the chart?
69.
Why'd you wink?
Well, that's obviously his weapon of choice.
And give me another one.
10.
All right, so he takes out a short sword. Draws it, looks it over. Definitely a nice short sword. Just at a glance, you're like, that's well made, and knowing him, probably enchanted. And he puts it, he slides it back. He sets out a composite bow and props it up against his tent. It's got a bow quiver on it. And it's only got about 3 arrows in it. So you guys, kind of
curious about that. 3 arrows. Is that going to be enough for taking down a bunch of undead?
We're only going to get that many shots before he closes in.
Fair enough.
After that, it's all wand and weapons.
I thought maybe he had like an infinite quiver, some like outlandish wizardy thing.
Well, there are quivers of holding.
Right.
Yeah.
It's fair that he just needs that many.
So yeah, I mean, you guys sort of share tales. Do you want to pose any questions to him? There seems to be some logical ones to ask him.
Yeah, my head's a little bit foggy. It's kind of late. I can't think of off the top of my head, but
other worlds, Moonmouth. Let's just look at your goals list.
Good idea. Yeah. Yeah, it's ask him about the Unmoth, just to see if he's heard of the place and knows any of the creatures from there.
No, can't say that I have.
Okay.
Anything else in the list?
There's always Cult of the 9 Stars, but that's always kind of risky.
Oh my lord, dude. Priest birds.
Oh, that too. Duh. I forget about that. I wasn't in my goals. Damn it. Okay, I'll write that down right now. I'll ask him right there about, I have been looking for these birds out here.
I've never been so lucky as to see one except from way off and usually in the air. Goblins love them. Swear by them.
Yeah.
But they've got to be, I know they're in this valley and the valley that Balabry's in. I've seen them in the air both places. Never found the nest or anything like that. So he adventured. He was interested exclusively in the southern wilds. And he clearly just misses the place. He's kind of done with adventuring, but he speaks just of the beauty of it and how lush it was. And he's like, the heat is unbearable. But he said there are these creatures that are nothing but a floating white petal of blossom. And they just carry on through the forest. You can't disturb them. They will unleash a beam of heat that could take down that oak.
Oh my goodness.
But they're just beautiful. And the people there, I mean, they're primitive. But I tell you, they know when a man needs help, and you treat them well, they treat you well. And he's kind of drifts off, and he's looking in the fire. He's almost muttering to himself, and it's like he's wrestling with going back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Let him. Was reminiscing.
so let's I'll mark you down. Get about actually, let's have you roll to see how much reading you get done.
Yeah. 25.
That's not a lot. So let's do. That'll be a. So you're at. Oh, I should tell you. So right now, you're at. So with this one, you're at 5.5 hours.
Okay.
All right, and that's because you didn't use all your. We got about 2/3 through your experience before you went up a level.
Mm-hmm.
So I used 2/3 of your reading.
Gotcha.
Is what I did. So you were at 15.5, and I used 10 hours to get you the ranks.
Gotcha.
So now you're at 5.5 hours. Yeah. So he packs it in for the night. Sure enough, it's getting cold. He puts a couple of logs on the fire. Thanks you for your company, and he goes to bed. You follow suit. Give me your 3 rolls, and we'll get you to the next day.
Okay. 33, 28, and 22.
No dreams of any significance that you can really remember. I'm not doing good here. I need to look at if you've got visitors.
Well, yeah, I didn't even look at that either.
What was the date? Right. Wait, am I right? Yeah. So you're wakened in your tent in the middle of the night, and it's the Trinidas.
Oh, okay. Why, hello there, say in a quiet voice.
And I should probably post for our fans.
Who are the Trinidas?
Right.
What do they want?
So the Trinidas are old allies of Brise. They are helping her against Verilag and some other issues. The issue presently is that an undead race called the Philistine, for various reasons, are considering purging a certain area nearby of all sentient life. And there are literally thousands of the Philistine. And so there's some effort to try to dissuade them from that, and the Trinidas are involved in that effort and are here to give Breeze an update. So, beautiful green light fills your tent, and out floats one of the flower people. Trinidas again riding on a slender vine that forms its body. The Trinidas lifts off, lands sort of on your knee as you're sort of sitting Indian style in your tent. And you sort of just crack the flap of your tent to let in some firelight so you can see one another, or at least you can see her. And in its beautiful musical chorus of a voice, it tells you, we have only had partial success in contacting the powerful beings that inhabit the Vetch. One has agreed to help. 2 others that we knew of have refused even to see us. But there is evidence, at least, that those two believed us and have instead doubled the guard at their borders. There's a halfling. I do not know if you have met this person. A halfling man, male, you know. He seems of strong heart and wise. He has with him quite an entourage and force of men. I believe, if we judge his heart, that he came here for rest from such issues. But he alone, among the ones we spoke to, is committed to help.
Right.
He marches tomorrow with a small force to parley with the Philistine.
Oh, okay. Take the initiative. Really quick.
Yeah.
Won't that alert them? Well, I guess that doesn't really matter, right? Alert them to that someone's been spying on them of their plans, right? Might make them extra. I don't know if that could be helped, but that is something concerned. It could be taken that way.
He is pledged to take responsibility for the spying and not mention how it will occur.
Okay.
He is confident that he can withstand any assault on he and his entourage.
Right.
And certainly he doesn't fear for his own home. And certainly we felt considerable magical protection on it. He goes by the name Avradal Kenna.
Avradal Kenna.
And he rides in the morning to meet the Vetch. He has agreed that secretly one of us will be with him, stashed among the horses and men. When would you like to hear next?
That depends. By your estimates, I know it's really hard to estimate such a thing, but do we feel confident that Averdal would be able to resist the Philistine? Is that just too nebulous of a question at this point?
He believes that if he can convey, he seeks to meet with one group.
Right.
And from there, hopefully, pass his message from them to all the other groups.
Right. So it sounds like.
So he does not seek engagement with all the groups.
Right.
And he hopes to isolate one, speak his mind, and then return in force to his home and await a response.
Okay. Well, let's see how that plan starts to take off. And
well, what they're asking you is, hey, do you want a report?
Yeah, no, I'm thinking through that. So
okay, sorry.
See how that plan takes off. And if it looks like it's not, what's the word? It looks like if the Philistine aren't listening or are reacting negatively, then we will have to take some action with the other two members, which, like we said, I would consider going there myself. So the report would be as soon as we have some inkling of if this parlay has been successful or not. I think, which as soon as we know that, if that's tomorrow or the day after, please please find me and make it a priority.
We will seek you out as soon as we have any information. We might perhaps wait for his safe return to his home, and then speak with you.
That seems fair.
So you sort of update them, tell them that things are moving along on your end. And you let them know that there are things that have been accomplished in terms of locating volcanoes and things like that.
Right.
And then, with your permission, they leave.
Yeah. Quick and easy. I thank them again, for everything they're doing. It's a great feat.
Certainly of great help.
And also, I didn't want to point it out, but so they came and there was the alarm spell set. So I guess they didn't trigger it. They didn't cross over it, or they're not the type of creature that would set it off. It's interesting.
For whatever reason. Yeah. And maybe
that's good. Yeah.
one of the advantages, because it occurs to you, of course, that clearly something something akin to a portal is what the flower people use.
Right.
An aperture through space that takes you from one place to another.
Yeah.
Although they go through an intermediary stage of their own green realm. But yeah, it's interesting. But you're right, they didn't set it off at all.
Damn this fly. All right. Well, then, yeah, that's good. Then they leave and I try to get back to sleep.
And I'm going to tell you, so that you would have introduced each other. We always skip this, but your dwarven trapper is named Sheddrall, Sheddrall. Ballo.
That's my last name, I tell him.
And I always ask, of course, do you do you want to give your real name? Do you want to give a?
Yeah, I really should just come up with a pseudonym.
I mean, if you wish, if you feel like it.
I would have just a guy in the wilderness. I would have introduced myself with another name. I don't know. Beth. Sounds like Brise. Very plain sounding.
Right.
My name is Bob.
My name is Dirty Liar. How are you?
Yeah, I would have. It's a stranger in the wilderness. I would have definitely used it. And he seems to know a lot about magic, so might as well. Can never be too careful.
Well,
So
it's just if there are people like whenever you fear there's a situation that someone's asking after you, if you know that Southern expression,
yeah,
um, um, then um, in those instances is when you want to have it ready. And given that well, now especially, I guess with Mia Grawl keeping tabs and her enemies keeping tabs on you,
true.
um, you you might need to do that.
Yeah. That's something I didn't even consider. But when I left, I mean, obviously they can't follow me without being seen that easily in the wilderness, like making noise and stuff. But like when I left the town, I should have checked if anyone was following me out.
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, sort of the thought was it's so weird, right? Like just because you're leaving the area, you think, oh, well, then I don't have to worry about that. That was town stuff, right? It's weird how
Kind of
um,
separate those. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
we compartmentalize them completely strangely. Um, and everybody does it. And
Yeah.
it's in fact, you know what? I bet it's exactly tied to that thing that the researchers found about, um, like, so if you know how, like, when you go to a room to search for something,
Mhm.
and you walk in the room and you go, why the hell am I here?
Yes.
It's because memory is tied to location, we have learned.
Right.
And, and we, and so what these researchers found out is if you want to avoid that problem, what you need to do is, as you cross a threshold, the threshold into the area, but probably every threshold in between you and the area you need to search, what you need to do is as you cross it, repeat the item's name over and over again.
Mm.
Keys, 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 whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And that dramatically improves people's ability to recall what they're doing in that room. Isn't that
Yeah, that's
crazy?
interesting. Yeah, because like I've heard of that a lot, but I that's a lot with like long term stuff. I know for sure. Like you'll come back to a place. I'll also listen to audiobooks a lot, so I'll come back to a place like a year later, and I remember, oh, I was listening to that audiobook here, like at this chapter. Sometimes I
Yes.
know that,
That's really
but
interesting.
I didn't know it works like short term like that. Also,
Yeah, because I have for like big like revelations in my life, like big turning points in my life. I
yeah,
remember exactly where I was.
yeah.
You know,
And if you go back to those places, you'd probably be reminded of it.
right? Like even more fully. Um, so anyway, yeah, I'd say so. I think it happens with us in role playing. You left town, so all your town concerns were set aside.
Right.
And it's just crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, um,
Well, I was gonna say I think this is probably a good place to stop. Sorry, 9:30, and we'll
yeah,
just
yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, I shouldn't have gotten us off track.
no. I mean that's good because I needed to meet the Trinidas anyway. So
Well, all righty. So met with the Trinidas, and then we'll put you to bed. Maybe I'll just probably do that off thing. We'll just have you wake up and get going in the morning.
yeah,
Everybody, thanks for joining us and watching yet another stream, episode 11. Already 11 episodes in, and I hope you're having a good time like we are. As Brise continues to try to disentangle herself from the sorceress Queen Verilag. As always, like, subscribe, spread the word. Um, and if you, we got to fix that damn thing. Also, go take a look at Max's YouTube channel, which you see the link right down there for. And he would listen to his discussions and analyses of music and video games, as well as original soundtracks for them. And thanks again to Elliot Donovitz, who did the art for Brise's character that we use on the stream. And you can find her contact information down there, although I'll get this caption off and hopefully you can see it a little better.
it's artstation.com/tortillua.
Yeah, and I can start adding,
Cortillua.
and I'll add that to our streaming data as well,
Yeah.
and that way it'll be in the thing, and you can take a look at my novel if you want. And as always, there are links down below for his character sheet, personality, and all that, and our donation. But hey, spread the word. Join us next time. We've already scheduled the next one for June 16th, which is next Wednesday. Same great time, same great channel. Well, thank you, all my cherubs, for joining us. More adventure on the way next week. Max, say goodbye to these lovely people.
All right. Thanks for coming out. Not a big crowd, but hopefully you tell your friends who is here to spread the rumor that, hey, this is exciting. We get to battle wolves and explore battlefields of undead creatures. So some of that juicy role playing, goodness. But yeah,
Less
thanks for
social,
coming out.
less social, more swords is what we're doing.
Yeah, more sword, more.
Yeah, for the next swords. Although next several weeks anyway. Then of course, we got some interesting social stuff done too, which I think is a kind of a neat blend.
Yeah, I really like that dwarf. That was cool. So
yeah,
but yeah, thanks for coming out, and I hope to
yeah,
see you
thanks
again.
everybody, and we will see you next time. And check out the various links. And thanks to everybody who joined us. We appreciate it.